Hey, what's up guys? Sir Emanon here, and we are finally back with another video. So yeah, I've been kind of gone for a while, haven't I? It's been a couple weeks, and I've said on numerous occasions a couple weeks ago that I would be coming back because I had taken intermittent breaks from time to time, but like not nearly as extensive as I have the past few weeks. Just that a lot of things have been going on in my personal life, and I've been just very busy. But hopefully things have been winding down a bit, especially with Thanksgiving coming up. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting videos out for you guys again. And also I just didn't really have any like major events to go to. So honestly, when I don't really have things to look forward to competitively, I kind of, not that I lose interest in the game, but like it's not at its peak, let's put it that way. But here we are with some actually other Yu-Gi-Oh content, not Lunalight content, because I've been looking around at the meta, and obviously with YCS Pasadena wrapping up this weekend, it's a lot of the same format. It's just some minor developments taking place, obviously with the emergence of a Striker Orcust popping up, that a lot of people didn't really see coming, that if they weren't really like ahead of the curve. But anyways, with that out of the way, I've been looking forward to some of the releases in, for example, a set like Dual Overload, where we have gotten an official announcement for Draconnet, or Halqifibrax, I believe its TCG name is going to be. So yeah, with that deck, or with that card being released, I think the deck that benefits the most in the current metagame is going to be the Seyfert Danger Thunder deck, piloted by Herman Hansen and Simon Wang of Frozen Card Gaming, and then later by the likes of Jesse Cotton and Asala and all those people. But yeah, this is going to be sort of an evolution of that list. I don't really have like a finalized deck. I've just kind of been just toying around with some combos to start off with, and the format might look entirely different by the time we get that set in March. But yeah, so I'm going to showcase what this deck might actually look like in the upcoming months. So if you were from the future, hello. And if this ends up being mainstream combo lines that are being featured, then it's my pleasure to bring them to you guys. I kind of just sat down and thought of how much Draconnet can do by itself. So yeah, if you guys definitely want to see more combo videos for this deck or any other deck, be sure to leave suggestions in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you want to see more of this deck specifically. Let's shoot for like 75 likes if you want to see more of this deck. I know most of you guys aren't here on my channel for this kind of content, because a lot of people just know me as the Lunalight player, but I do actually play other decks, and I like combos in general a lot because I generally enjoy sequencing and trying to be very meticulous in terms of how to like play around certain disruptions, or like how to optimize certain combo lines and things of that nature. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the first combo here. So these are all Draconnet combos. There are not too many combos here, that I have just a couple. But yeah, this is going to be a end board of Appaloosa with 3 negations, a Darkest Diablos, which rips the card out of your opponent's hand, a Thunder Dragon Colossus, IP Masquerena, and a leftover Romulus that we have as part of our combo that you can use with the Masquerena if you want to. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. So obviously you're going to start off by normal summoning Draconnet. If you're familiar at all with this combo, then this should be a surprise to you. It's basically just a standard Ib combo, so you summon out the Galaxy Serpent off the Draconnet, and then you use those 2 monsters to synchro summon Ib, the World Chalice Justiciar. Ib will search you the World Legacy Guard Dragon, which you will promptly activate to target and special summon the Galaxy Serpent from your graveyard. You'll link summon with those 2 monsters now into Draconnet, or Halqifibrax, or however you pronounce that, I don't know. But regardless of that, you will be able to summon both of these because it requires at least 1 tuner, and actually both of your monsters here are tuners, so that's pretty convenient. So yeah, Needlefiber, I'm just going to call it Needlefiber for the sake of this video because it's easier for me to pronounce. Needlefiber and Ib will both trigger here in a chain. They both lose to Ash, but if you don't want to like lose to Ogre, if they for some reason like haven't ogred, like if maybe they're holding it, probably wouldn't ogre the Ib, honestly, so maybe they might choose to ogre the Needlefiber, so you can like go chain link 1 Needlefiber, chain link 2 Ib to chain block there. But ultimately both cards don't really do well against Ashe. You could also chain block it the other way if you are specifically worried about Ashe, because getting the World Legacy Guard Dragon out of your deck is arguably more important because that feeds into your Guard Dragon combo. So like the tuner that we're summoning off Needlefiber isn't actually going to be a dragon in the combos that I'm showcasing. And keep in mind that my choice of tuner might not be the most optimal, but I believe it is the best that I could come up with in, you know, my short amount of testing so far, which I'll get into in just a bit. But yeah, just some more extrapolations. Like, if you wanted to ensure that your Guard Dragon play is like resolved through Ashe, like you could chain it so that Needlefiber is chaining too. That way, like even if they do have Ashe and they use it on the Needlefiber, then like you can go into the World Legacy Guard Dragon and you still have the World Chalice Guard Dragon, and you still have basically like the standard like LP Pisty play that you can do, which is like the unsafe route. But I will be showing you the safe route to play around Nibiru. Which is also something I probably should have mentioned, but yeah, these combos definitely play around Nibiru pretty well. And I'll even showcase what happens if you do get Nibiru. But anyways, I just keep on talking. Hopefully that's not too bothersome to you guys. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and summon the World Chalice Guard Dragon off of the Ib. And off the Needlefiber, I'm going to summon Blackwing Steam the Cloak. Now, there is a number of reasons why I'm choosing to summon this tuner. So first, it is a dark and it is a winged beast. So basically that means that if you have like danger monsters or thunder monsters or just like any dark extenders you might want to play, like Luna the Dark Spirit or things of that nature, you can choose to use this to make Curious. Another reason is that it actually, being a winged beast specifically, is really good for making Dragunity Knight Romulus, because that card actually can use winged beasts and dragons, not just dragons, because it is a member of the Dragunity archetype. So because of this, Steam is a very nice inclusion. Another really good reason is that it has a good folding effect, because if it leaves the field, you get to summon a Steam token. It's actually a mandatory trigger to summon a Steam token, but the Steam token is pretty good because it's a level 1, so you can use it for Link Karibo, which we'll get into a little bit later. And also it recurs itself, and when it leaves the field for the second time, it also triggers a second time, because the only once per turn effect, or rather the once per duel effect, is the graveyard effect. But the effective trigger to summon tokens is actually not once per turn. So you actually get 3 monsters with a link material versus something like a Glow Up Bulb or a Jet Synchron, which can be situationally good as well, but those only generate 2 link materials worth of monsters, and they don't offer the same synergy because they are not darks and they are not, you know, they don't allow you to go into Curious and stuff. But yeah, and they also don't allow you to go into Romulus, that's the other thing. So yeah, I believe that this is honestly the best choice. You could argue again for other tuners, maybe like a dragon tuner if you wanted to, but I just think that this is the best option for the plays that we're about to utilize, and you'll see that I use this a lot for like all of its effects, and it's all like very important. So yeah, if you do choose to play a different tuner, you're gonna have to think of some different combos, because the Steam the Cloak is very important for these plays I'm about to show you. But anyways, we're gonna link summon with all 3 of these monsters into a 3 material Appaloosa, and the reason that we're doing this is because we want to summon Appaloosa as early as we can. Our opponent probably would have hand trapped us like earlier if they had, you know, Valor or Ashe or, you know, what have you, but doing this just ensures safety against specifically Nibiru. And like, the thing is that it's really cool about like showcasing just Draconnet is that it's literally a 1-card play. So the other cards that you have in your hand can help you extend if like you do get stopped earlier. So that's not really that big of a deal. So yeah, really this is just to stop Nibiru specifically. But if your opponent is holding out in hand traps for whatever reason and they're not respecting the early Appaloosa, like maybe they'll expect you to go like a Dragon Tuner and then go, you know, Pisty and LP in like the zones that Needlefiber points to, or even like go LP with the World Chalice Guard Dragon, then banish it to like summon Galaxy Serpent back, and then Pisty to the other Needlefiber zone. Like they might expect that. So if that is what they're holding out for, and they're gonna like try and chain Nibiru to LP, then that kind of like stops that from happening. Same with like Ashe, if they like are holding Ashe for the LP there. So you can really like capitalize on people not expecting Appaloosa to be summoned this early into the combo line. And I'll get into again how you deal with getting Nibiru, because this is after the 5th summon, but it does ensure that like if your opponent is holding out and trying to be more conservative to try and maximize their value, that they get punished for perhaps being a little bit greedier with their hand traps. But anyways, yeah, we're going to go ahead and proceed here. So Steam the Cloak will trigger and will summon us a token that is actually a mandatory trigger. But you know, there's not really a whole lot that our opponent will be able to stop us with, unless if they want to use Skullmeister after we summon Appaloosa. Probably not. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and banish our World Chalice Guard Dragon to summon the Galaxy Serpent from our graveyard here to the zone that Appaloosa points to, which now we will use to go into Guard Dragon LP. So LP will summon a Starleash Seyfert from our deck. So the reason I'm picking this over Brotar is for a couple reasons. So basically, if you don't open Seyfert or Levianeer or Diablos, then you won't be able to have guaranteed Levianeer and Diablos access. Like, you have to open one of those cards. If you open any of those cards along with this Draconnet play, then you actually get to utilize like both the Levianeer and Diablos, and you can go into like Harbinger and things of that nature. But we're assuming we don't have any of those, so with that in mind, like, Brotar can fetch us like Diablos or Levianeer, but like, you know, so can Seyfert, because we're going to get Ravine in the combo later anyways, so you might as well, you know, have the card that immediately with its own effect generates you 2 more link materials. Or rather 1 more, because like you're setting itself, of course, and then like you're getting the white and then subsequently the black dragon. So that is like a net positive, like, or I don't want to say positive, but I don't want to say plus either, but like in the long term, I guess you can consider it a net +1, with like Seyfert being like, you know, getting you those 2 like baby chaos dragons, and then later on like it gets you the resource that you dump off of Ravine back. So overall, like, I think that it just offers better value than Brotar, which would effectively get you the same like big level 8 dragon that you were going to get anyway, but this just ensures that you have like more steps along the way to be able to ladder up into your link monsters before you get to that point. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and use the Seyfert's effect to send itself to the graveyard and search our Wyvern Burster. So we're using this before Collapse Serpent because the we want to have Darks on the field later into the combo line, and for both of the combos I'm about to show you, there's 3 in total, but like for the 2 main combos, you want Darks on the field just like as insurance. To make sure that like certain stipulations are met. One is a summoning condition, the other is an effect activation, so hints to what is to come if you guys can decipher my cryptic messages. But anyways, we're going to banish the Draconnet from our graveyard. It is the only Dark that you want to banish, because the other option is Steam the Cloak, and we have not used its graveyard effect yet, so we are electing to not do that. And we are going to summon the Wyvern Burster, then use it to summon the Guard Dragon Pisty, triggering Wyvern Burster to search Collapse Serpent. Then Pisty will go ahead and bring back the banished World Chalice Guard Dragon. You can go ahead and bring back Seyfert if you wanted to, but like just having more stuff in grave is like fine, like in the long term. Like, these monsters will be banished anyways, so like you don't actually want to bring the Seyfert back if like this is if you're doing just the isolated combo, because like Seyfert will be very useful to have in grave, like depending on how you want to approach your combo. And we are going to actually banish like these for Fusion Trishula right here. So yeah, we're gonna summon the Trishula Dragon of Icy Imprisonment. I'm not actually sure if this card is legal in EU yet, so feel free to let me know in the comment section down below if this is legal for you guys yet. I'm actually not sure, but I just remembered, like literally just now, that this is a Shonen Jump promo. So if this is not legal for you guys, I am very, very sorry about that. But you actually have some alternatives. It's just a little bit harder to work around. But I haven't like extensively thought those through. So if this ends up being NA exclusive and not for EU, let me know if you guys want me to show you some EU combos if these end up not being allowed for EU. So yeah, I actually literally didn't even think about that until just now. Apologize for that. But anyways, yeah, so this requires any 3 monsters with different names to be summoned if you guys aren't familiar with this card. And you summon it by banishing the monsters from your hand or your field. So it's 3 monsters with different names, and if they were all originally dragon monsters, you can banish 3 cards, 1 from your deck, 1 from the top of your opponent's deck, and 1 from your opponent's extra deck. So what you do here is you look at their extra deck and banish their most valuable resource. Yeah, the most important thing though is that you get to banish a card from the top of your deck, or sorry, from your deck, and 1 from the top of their deck. If you happen to play against Thunder and you hit a Thunder monster from their deck, then that's kind of unfortunate, but just take it as it goes. You have Appaloosa if you want to gate it anyway. But yeah, your Trish is going to banish the Thunder Dragon Roar from your deck, which will trigger and summon Dark. Next, you're going to Tribute the Dark. Oh yeah, that's another thing that Steam the Cloak offers that's really cool, is that its graveyard effect actually tributes. So in a pinch, you can actually use it to trigger Diablos, which is cool. So you can like use it later on in the game if you don't have to use it like turn 1, and then like it gets you another use of Diablos, which is really cool. So like beyond summoning Colossus, like it allows you to trigger Diablos, which is really, really nice. I totally forgot to say that. I knew there was one more point about Steam that I really liked that I just forgot to mention initially, but yeah. We're not doing that here though, as far as like triggering Diablos. We're gonna do that later. But yeah, we're gonna Tribute the Dark to summon the Steam back, which will trigger Dark's effect to search ourselves the Hawk. And then, because again this is a Winged Beast monster and we have a Trishula, which is a dragon, we're able to use those 2 to go ahead and make a Draconnet Knight Romulus, which again requires 2 dragons and or Winged Beasts, which is pretty good. This will trigger Steam's graveyard effect again or not graveyard effect, but like when it leaves the field, to summon a token to your field. So you have 2 of these tokens now. But Romulus on summon will add you your Dragon Ravine. Obviously, because Steam is mandatory, the token summoning happens after your search. But like, I mean, it's Dueling Book. I just want to navigate as quickly as I can. We're going to use the 2 tokens, which are non-links, to make IP Mask Arena next. So this is just another layer of disruption, really. Like, it's used to just protect your board. Because we didn't open up, again, like, we didn't open up Levianeer, Seyfert, or Diablos, any of which would be able to, like, utilize to make a rank 8 play. Because we didn't do that, we just want to be able to convert our lingering monsters into something that's actually meaningful, which would actually be a problem if we opened like super well, because like we have a lot of monsters just kind of sitting here, which isn't like inherently a bad thing, but like because we committed to Appaloosa early in the combo to not like just die to Nibiru super early, which honestly, if you get died to Nibiru, or you get Nibiru early in the combo, like it's fine, but like if you get Nibiru later, it hurts a lot. So like you just want to stop that as fast as you can. But yeah, because we already committed to Appaloosa, like there's not really anything good to like make the other monsters. Obviously, you can't even use tokens to summon Appaloosa, but like, you know, there's nothing really that great that you can use. So like IP is the best play anyway, even if we did have like the extra extender that I was talking about earlier. But I digress. I'm going on a tangent here. IP obviously good for disruption. So yeah, we're gonna use the Hawk to summon back the banished Roar. And then we're going to activate Ravine and pitch our spare card. I should mention, like, it's obviously just a blank card. But yeah, Draconnet plus a blank card for Ravine. So yeah, you pitch that to send your Diablos. And then you're going to tribute the Roar to summon your Colossus, which will trigger the Diablos. And then you can summon your Collapsed Serpent by banishing the Wyver Burster, and then tribute it off using Diablos' effect. So yeah, it looks a little bit awkward because like normally you expect like if Diablos hits the board, then normally you're expecting a rank 8 to come out of it. But in theory, if you had like Levianeer access, or like maybe you got like Grave off a Danger or something, you know, and somehow like you have access to it either in hand or like you can banish Seyfert to grab it back. You can just summon your Levianeer. You can banish 3 Darks because you have 3 Darks in here. It's unfortunate you have to give up one of your Thunder monsters because that means you can't banish them later. But like you'll still have at least one. But yeah, you can use Levianeer to rip another card. You can well, actually, prior to that, what you would do is you would use World Legacy Guard Dragon to move this Romulus to the leftmost zone, and then summon the Levianeer where the Romulus currently is, and then overlay there. That way you have like the correct zone to do things. But yeah, that's going to be it for this first iteration of the Draconnet combo. I'm going to show you a second alternative line that might be more useful depending on the matchup. See you in just a bit. Alright, welcome back guys, and as you can see from the graphic on the right side of your screen, this end board is going to look a little bit different, and it does require another blank card as an investment, but you will actually get that card back. I wouldn't recommend necessarily blinding this combo, but it is very nice to have at just as an option if you wanted to based on the format. It's pretty cool to have as just, extra added versatility, if you will. But this is again showing the power of Draconnet and why this card's actually at 1 in the OCG, if you guys didn't know. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into this combo. So starting off, normal summon Draconnet as always. It's gonna start the same way as the last combo. Summon a Galaxy Serpent, Synchro Summon Ib, search your World Legacy Guard Dragon, activate World Legacy Guard Dragon to special summon back the Galaxy Serpent, link summon into Needlefiber. Needlefiber and Ib both trigger, so you summon your Steam and your World Chalice Guard Dragon. You're gonna make the Appaloosa to be safe to not die to Nibiru instantly, or like not instantly, but later on. Steam will trigger summoning your token, and then World Chalice Guard Dragon will activate to summon back your Galaxy Serpent, and then you'll turn that into a Guard Dragon LP. LP will activate to summon your Seyfert, and your Seyfert will activate to search your Wyver Burster. Next, you will banish your Draconnet to special your Wyver Burster, then use it to summon Pisty, which will add you your Collapse Serpent, the Wyver Burster that is. Pisty, on the other hand, will bring you back your World Chalice Guard Dragon. From your banish pile, you're going to banish those to Contact Fuse for your Fusion Trishula, which will banish Roar, Special Dark. And then you will do a different line here. So instead of tributing the Dark here, we're going to actually tribute the token. And we want this to happen because, like, unlike the IP play where we didn't really care what types of monsters we had to make IP as long as they weren't Link monsters, which we weren't really summoning too many of anyway besides the Romulus. But here, we don't want too many Steam tokens because like they kind of just clog up the field and they don't do anything by themselves because they're wind aquas for some reason, which actually I was trying to experiment with using the Steam tokens to make curious because Romulus is also a wind, and technically Appaloosa is a wind fairy, so like if you could technically use Appaloosa to make the curious. That sounds like an awful idea, but you could technically do it if you wanted to. But yeah, it just ended up not being worthy because like they're just not either wind extenders that are worth playing. But yeah, just doing it this way instead allows you to make sure that like you have the necessary like amount of like tokens, which you just want one. So by getting rid of the other token, this Steam's going to trigger once again when it hits the grave, so you're going to get a token back anyway, so like you're not really losing anything, you're just getting the Steam, which is advantageous anyway because you're going to use it for your Romulus right here. So yeah, Romulus and Steam will both trigger, so you will get your Ravine and your token. Your token will turn into a Link Rebo, which is very nice because that this Steam token is a level 1 monster. And Link Rebo is a Dark Cyber, so that helps you make Curious, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and banish our Wyver Burster to summon our Collapse Serpent. And now we're going to make Curious the Lightsworn Dominion. So normally this is used to send the Thunder Dragon Roar so that you can use like either, you know, Luna the Dark Spirit if you play it, or like Wyver Burster, or Levianeer, or Thunder Dragon Duo maybe if you have it, to just get your Thunder engine started. But in this case, since it's already pretty much online, we can actually use Curious to send a Floodgate. So we're going to first off trigger Dark to search ourselves the Hawk. But then we're going to summon, or rather, send the Eradicator Epidemic Virus. So this is why I was saying, this is what I meant when I said earlier that like you don't want to necessarily do this blind. You have to like really assess the format and see if this is worth doing, especially in game 1. But it's very nice to have as an option, especially for excited games if you wanted to do it this way. It just like blows out, you know, Striker and like Trap decks out of the water. Like you can really just capitalize on having a very, very free blowout card. That is if like this all gets you know, uninterrupted, which is very possible, because like some people opting to not play hand traps and are just playing like breakboard cards like Dark Ruler No More instead. So like you can actually really punish like that kind of side decking theory if you wanted to go that route. But anyways, yeah, we can go ahead and activate Dragon Ravine and pitch one of our blanks to send this time a Chaos Dragon Levianeer. So we're not doing Diablos this time because of the fact that like Diablos was nice to have on board in the last combo because like we weren't able to end on that rank 8, so like it provides more board presence than Levianeer. Like we could have done this play where like we sent the Levianeer because we're gonna add it back off Seyfert, and then we could have like used the Levianeer to just, you know, do the play that we would have done anyway. And it wouldn't have required us to like utilize our collapse servant in that last combo at the end there, so we would have still had like an extender for the next turn. So like technically that is like a positive of using the Levianeer, but the other problem is that like not really much of a problem, but like it's nice to just have the Diablos because like it's very hard for your opponent to like get over, since it can't be targeted or attributed by your opponent's card effects. So yeah, like it just provides more commanding of a board presence, whereas in this combo, not only do we not have the resources at all to be able to tribute like for Diablos' effect, but we also are going to get rid of it anyway because of the Eradicator, since we're gonna have to like tribute it off. So it just makes more sense in this combo to do Levianeer. You again could do Levianeer in the other combo, but yeah, you can't actually use Diablos in this combo because like you're one material short of being able to trigger Diablos' effect. Like you could technically just not use Diablos' effect, but like, I mean, at that point again, you might as well just use Levianeer because it would be able to rip a card, and you are effectively achieving the same thing anyway. And provided your Dragon Ravine stays in either scenario, like you're going to be able to refuel your graveyard with either Seyfert in this case, where it's going to be banished, so you just drop another Seyfert in there and get back your Levianeer and do it again. Or in the case of the last combo where we didn't drop Levianeer and we had Seyfert in there, which we never had to banish because Diablos recurs itself, you can just send Levianeer off the Ravine and it does basically the same thing. But anyways, I am talking a lot. I miss making videos, guys. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and banish the Seyfert, like I said, to barrack our Chaos Dragon Levianeer, and we will banish our 3 darks, notably not the Thunder Dragon Dark, because we want it as follow-up in the graveyard for a future play, because like it'll net us advantage. Like when we eventually, you know, use another Levianeer, because like this deck just keeps churning out Levianeers. That's kind of what it does. But yeah, we're gonna rip out a card out of our opponent's hand, and then we can use the Curious and the Romulus for a Griffin. Now this is kind of something that I was like struggling with for a little bit, because like I was trying to make Romulus and then Fusion Trish, but I was like, wait, we're using like a Link 2 to make a Trish, like that's wasting a Link material. But like if we do it this way, we're wasting a Link material as well. There's not really any way around it, because you have to make Romulus. Well, you don't have to, but like you make Romulus later on after you like do Appaloosa, so there's nothing really good to convert it into, unless again you like did the IP play that I showed you in the last combo. But yeah, effectively like Romulus kind of like eats up a material, and that's where that that's where that material basically went, as far as not being able to trigger Diablos. Like if, you know, hypothetically this was a Link 1, which I mean I don't know why I'm talking hypotheticals, because that's not how things are, but I guess hypothetically if it was a Link 1 and it only required like 1 dragon or something, then you'd have that extra monster, and then you can use Diablos and it would all be hunky-dory. But that's not the world we live in, so I'm going to disregard it. Yeah, so you're at this board and you haven't used Hawk yet. Oh, actually you're going to trigger Griffin, obviously, so you're going to discard the other blank, and it's co-linked, so you get to draw 1, so you get to make up that difference. I'm not drawing anything because you know, Dueling Book shuffles your deck, and I just don't want to draw like a random card. But you will draw 1. So you're going to use Hawk to special back the Banished Roar, and then go into the Colossus. And that pretty much concludes the combo right there. So yeah, on your opponent's turn, you're going to use Eradicator, flip it up, and tribute your Levianeer to destroy spells or traps. Again, probably stronger in sided games where you know the matchup. Probably weaker in a game 1 scenario, although Griffin is very nice to like kind of curb the combo decks, albeit you are giving them a zone with Appaloosa, so that is kind of debatable. But in any case, you are able to have a pretty strong setup, because again, if you open with a Levianeer or a Seyfert or a Diablos, or like if you're playing Melody of the Awakened Dragons, or if you draw into it with a Danger, or with Allure of Darkness, or anything of that nature, the deck has so many extenders. Like this is again literally just Draconnet, but if you have like any way to establish another rank 8 play, like you could theoretically do that, although with Eradicator this time it's a little bit wonkier. Granted, again, like there is a world where like you could potentially have, say for example, like another way to get into a Thunder monster. Maybe you like have duo, or like you drew Hawk and you like search duo or something, and they summon it. Like there's another level 8, so like you can like go rank 8, and then like if you had Diablo's trigger, then that's pretty good too. So there's many different lines you can take based on what actually you open in addition to the Draconnet. So if you guys want to see a deck profile of this deck, be sure to let me know as well in the comment section down below. And if you want to see test hands, I guess you can give me a heads up on that as well. But the final thing I'm going to show in this video, we are actually not done yet, is how we can play if we do get Nibiru using this combo line, which there is actually a very good way we can play around Nibiru and at a very similar board to these two. So we'll see you in just a bit. Alright, welcome back. So as I alluded to earlier, the Draconnet combo does in fact go well over 5 summons, even before you summon the Appaloosa. So it's pretty important that we account for the fact that we could potentially get Nibiru before that point if our opponent is reading that we might go into Appaloosa, which is very reasonable, especially if this catches on. And the fact that like our opponent might just be holding other hand traps, like I again mentioned earlier. So like if your opponent is being conservative, you can capitalize on that by going to Appaloosa, but if not, and they Nibiru you instead, then you have to kind of just reconsider the routes that you take, and it'll ultimately be not as strong of a board, and the sequencing won't be as powerful because you'll go into Appaloosa a lot later to like stop the other hand traps a lot later, so it's like not as potent, but it still will end up on a pretty solid board if that is the only interaction your opponent has, and you can pretty easily, you know, take care of business here. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So I'm just going to count the summons as well. So Draconet's going to be the first summon. Serpent is summon number 2. Ib is summon number 3. You're going to search your Guard Dragon, of course. Guard Dragon will be number 4. The Serpent, of course, will be number 4. But the Guard Dragon summoning back the Serpent will be 4. And then Needlefiber is summon number 5. So on summon, both of these are trigger effects. So your opponent would not be very wise to Nibiru you here, because like your effects, you get to trigger your effects first because they go on chain on summon, and your turn player anyway. So like your opponent, you know, will be able to like Nibiru you as chain link 3 if they wanted to, but like not a good reason to, because like the only thing they'd be attributing is the Needlefiber, and you'd be able to still get your World Chalice Guard Dragon and your Steam the Cloak, as well as the Nibiru token. So like that would be a very unwise decision on your opponent. So assuming your opponent is reasonable, they are going to wait until this point. This is going to be 6 and 7. So if they're reading that you're going to go into Appaloosa here, which we have done in the other 2 combos, then this is the optimal point to Nibiru. You have to do it here, because then, you know, otherwise Appaloosa is just insulating the player from, you know, just getting Nibiru'd. So assume you get Nibiru'd here at any point if you open Draconnet, and that's like the first thing you do, and you're going into this line with Needlefiber. So everything gets tributed, you get a token, but Steam actually triggers as well, because it doesn't have to leave the field by like any specific means, it just has to leave the field. So as long as it's in a location of public knowledge where it can trigger, it will do so. So you get another token here. I'm just going to put a token on the Nibiru token, but that won't actually matter because we're going to be linking these 2 off anyways. So these are non-links, and similar to the first combo, as we use 2 Steam tokens, here we can use 2 tokens as well to summon IP Masquerena. So that's another really cool thing about having Needlefiber, is that like previously if you're like your IP got you know, Nibiru'd, if you did just like the IP play with the Ib and the Draconnet stuff, then maybe you were in a little bit of a tricky pickle. Like you would have to rely on the extenders exclusively, like the other 4 cards in your hand, like not exclusively per se, but like you need to have like something else like to just make sure that you can play. It's not as free as just having like Steam generate you like a token to like instantly go into a backup plan. And like with IP being the only link to historically, like you can, not historically, but like in current modern iterations prior to Needlefiber, it doesn't really leave you with that much of like a contingency for just having downward pointing arrows, because like those just don't really exist in current builds. So which is natural, of course, but this just allows you to have a secondary option should you get Nibiru'd at the specific point, which is again the most likely point that you'll get Nibiru'd if you start off with Draconnet, of course. So with that all being said, we are going to utilize the World Chalice Guard Dragon in our graveyard to banish it and summon the Galaxy Serpent. This should be to a zone a Link Monster points to. Don't do what I did here, and you should read your cards. But yeah, let's go ahead and use this Galaxy Serpent to summon a Guard Dragon LP. And of course, since we already use the World Chalice Guard Dragon, we don't have another dragon at the moment, so we're going to use the World Legacy Guard Dragon that's on our field to shift the LP over a zone right here. So now that we have two zones, or a zone that's being pointed to by two Link monsters, we can use LP's effect to trigger and summon the Starliege Seyfert. Seyfert is going to activate and grab ourselves the Wyver Burster. This is nothing new here. I'm going to banish Draconnet to summon the Wyver Burster and then go into a Pisty with the Wyver Burster. We will go ahead and search a Collapse Serpent off the Wyver Burster. And Pisty will go ahead and activate and summon the World Chalice Guard Dragon. For those guys who aren't aware, I'm sure most of you guys are, but just in case, you are able to utilize Pisty here because Pisty doesn't specify that it has to be one of the monsters that points to that zone. It's just a zone that any two or more Link monsters point to. It doesn't have to be itself. So just in case you guys weren't aware of that interaction, I'm sure most of you guys knew that, but if not, that is your fun fact of the day. We're going to go ahead and banish the three monsters on our field to summon a copy of Fusion Trishula, which, as you are seeing here, is pretty integral to the Draconnet only combos. But surprisingly enough, if you play with this deck a fair bit, you'll notice that you actually don't really need the Fusion Trishula that much. Because of the fact that like all your other extenders help you like make Curious if you wanted to, and the only point where it really matters is to have access to both Curious to like send something that's not a Thunder card, and to have Trishula to be able to actually access your Thunder monsters is if you're going for the Floodgate route, like I mentioned in the second combo in this video. But if you're not opting to play any of those cards, main or side deck, then by all means you can actually cut this card and just play like Curious, because again, you're playing with just one card. That's why it's not like great to look at, you know, combos in just pure isolation, because looking at things in a vacuum completely ignores all other like outside factors that definitely come into play when playing a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's something I feel that a lot of combo tutorials really miss. But here I am demonstrating this only because like we are getting a new Needlefiber, or the new Needlefiber. I'm getting tongue-tied here. But yeah, because we're getting it soon, and you know, people might be interested in how the Seyfert Thunder deck looks post-Needlefiber. I just kind of want to showcase it. But you'll notice that like in all of these, I am still taking a very meta, like competitive oriented approach to the way I actually facilitate these combos, because I'm expecting to get hand trapped and expecting to get Nibiru and stuff. So like I'm never trying to just maximize the value of my combo like super recklessly expecting no resistance, because that's just really unrealistic. So just a kind of a side tangent. I'm not like trying to call anyone out specifically as far as like combo like tutorial like channels, if you know those exist, like specifically combo tutorial channels. But anyways, I'm going way off topic here. We're gonna use Fusion Trish to go ahead and banish our roller like we have in every single combo, and bring ourselves the Dark to our field. And then we're going to use the Steam the Cloak and Grave to tribute off the Thunder Dragon Dark to summon the Steam back. This allows us to trigger Dark to search ourselves a Hawk and puts the Winged Beast body on our board that we would like. We could use the Collapse Serpent, but we want to get our token on the field, just so we have more links to work with, or link materials to work with, I should say. So Steam is going to be Chain Link 1 and Rhombus is going to be Chain Link 2. Obviously, as I said before, Ravine would be searched fire because that's how chain links work, but I am lazy on Dueling Book. So we're going to go ahead and use this token for a Link Karibo, and the reason we're doing this here is not because we're trying to summon Curious, it's because Appaloosa can't use tokens, so we just need to have it here. You could argue that Link Karibo is kind of a waste of an extra deck space, like a little bit of a waste, but it is kind of what it is, you know. It's not like the greatest card, but like it can help you get out of some like weird spots. Like in maybe some certain niche hands, like I don't know, Brotar plus like World Legacy Guard Dragon or something, like it get you out of those. So yeah, it's just like something nice to have. It's not like by any means a staple, because this actually like obviously is very tight, but you do what you have to do. But anyways, what we did there was we banished the Wyvern Burster to summon Collapse Serpent, and then we used the Romulus, the Link Revo, and the Collapse Serpent to summon the Appaloosa, which is going to have 3 negations on it, and I did not use counters on them, on the Appaloosa, because I forgot. So we're going to use Dragon Ravine to pitch the blank in our hand to send a Levianeer. Again, we don't have the means to trigger Diablo's effect to rip a card, so we're just going to rip a card with the easier method. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead. You could make the case to use the Levianeer to pop the Nibiru. That way you don't have to use the IP, which I'm gonna explain right now. So like the reason you do it this way, we're gonna use Hawk to obviously summon back the Roar, and then Roar turns into Colossus. It's pretty simple. But the reason why I did it this way is that, worst case scenario, your opponent tries to crash into or attack over Appaloosa or attack over IP, and you go end of main phase, use Levianeer plus the Masquerade to go Unicorn and spin it or something. That's worst case scenario, which your opponent will probably do if you leave the board like this. So it is arguable that hey, maybe you should use Levianeer to just pop the Nibiru instead, so they don't have the opportunity to just attack over it. And there is a world where that is the ideal case. So you could definitely make an argument for that, and that might actually be better. So if you want to, you could banish this Galaxy Serpent instead of one of these dark monsters, and that is totally fine and dandy. But yeah, in the case where you want to rip more cards out of their hand, it kind of just depends on the matchup, I suppose. If you don't suspect they have that much follow up, then you can go ahead and do it this way, which I guess is maybe greedier, but no, either way, you're getting rid of the same number of cards, just a random card versus maybe guaranteed cards. So maybe if you are the type of player who prefers that, which honestly I would agree with, you should probably just pop the Nibiru if you don't want to waste IP on the Nibiru. But granted, they will still be playing with a set of 5 cards in their hand, so 4. But again, it's still pretty good because they did invest the Nibiru, so they're still down a card, and they have to play against what would be IP disruption if you got rid of the Nibiru, and Colossus locking them down from searching, and 3 negate Appaloosa off of 1 card still, I might add. So yeah, this is a lot of reward for very little investment, and it's pretty good. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I am again sorry that I did not upload for quite a while, but hopefully this was rewarding and made up for the lack in content. And if you guys want to see more of this deck, or if you want to see more Lunalight content maybe, or just other decks in general in the format, maybe you want to see Salad, maybe you want to see Orcus, maybe you want to see Striker, who knows. If you want to see any of those decks, be sure to let me know. I'm more than happy to provide gameplay on those. I just kind of want to get back into the Yu-Gi-Oh swing of things, if you will. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive oriented Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All 3 links are in the description as always. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will catch you in the next video. I am surprised I remembered my outro. See you guys!